Hello, Exiles. It is League Start Eve for Path of Exile 2. Very exciting times, and today I'm here to talk about what I'm planning to do for League Start. Of course, just like I think in 0.2 and even 0.1, we can't really do proper League Start build guides right now because there is so much subject to change and so much they have not actually told us. We don't know what the passive tree looks like, so every build you're ever recommended anywhere is at least 50% unfinished, believe it or not. That said, everyone's got a plan, and this is mine. My general minion archetype, we'll call it, that I'm going into, and how I plan to make it work. Where do we start? I think we start with Frost Mage. The change to Frost Mage, I'm not going to lie, it made me incredibly sad. I was actually going to League Start this to play Frost Mage as it was before they reworked it to be a completely different skill. But then I saw how they reworked it, and I was like, that's pretty sick. Let's do that instead. And basically, Frost Mage now puts an armor buff on our minions. So that's free survivability and a Thorns effect on all our minions that scales off of the Skeletal Frost Mage's power. This is good enough on its own, honestly, to consider including a Frost Mage, but it gets much stronger when you figure out that the Brute has been buffed. And what the Brute does is it shatters the Frost armor, turns it into a bomb. This is important, because if you have lots of minions stacked up, and Frost Mage putting ice armor on tons of them, and then you blow them all up, you get an enormous shotgun effect. Already great, On top of that, they also take care of stun, so they have a freeze consume and a stun consume. That said, they are probably not going to consume the freeze that you put on an enemy from blowing up the freezes of the ice armor, because the ice armor makes our minions count as frozen. That's a mouthful. But you see the combo, right? And the way we're looking to take advantage of this is by keeping as many minions that are effective on the battlefield at once. So how are we going to do that? Well, for starters, we have a passive tree that is worth nothing. You can take a screenshot of this if you want as a general gist. I'm basically just trying to efficiently path through all of the minion damage and enough minion survivability to start with. That's what this tree is. My general defensive options, I'm thinking I'm going to do something armor energy shield hybrid. Hopefully that works out well. Mostly we're doing that just because that is what's here on this part of the tree, Minions are over here, so let's make use of what's around. Our Ascendancy most likely will be Infernalist, at least at the start. There are reasons to consider going to Witch. Oh, I'm sorry, Lich. We're starting as a Witch, obviously. Necromantic Conduit combined with Soulless Form is like a free Unholy Might effect on all of our minions. I shouldn't say free, but very easy to set up is a better way to put it. And also, there are a lot of damage buffs that we could have on our character ourselves, as well as Crystalline Phylactery being just kind of a generically good buff to the character overall. So I think long-term, it's very likely Lich will be in the spotlight for this build, but I can't recommend it early, especially with just generically how good Loyal Hellhound is, right? This is like 10% less damage taken when you put the support in, because this is the only way for a topside minion build to get a companion, outside of investing a ton of dexterity, which we don't want to have to do. Now, the relative genius of this build, I think, personally, is how we managed to get so many minions on the field and what changes were made to kind of facilitate that. Because we have an arrangement of skills here that are all very important and part of that. Unearth, first and foremost, I hate this skill, or I did. I like this skill now. You see that? Limit 22 bone constructs. That's incredible. That's a lot of bone constructs. It also lets us deal damage, just like when we have nothing else to do, which is pretty cool. But the point of it is we get a ton of bone constructs. And the Frost Mage minion, which that will affect all minions. So these guys, temporary minions work as well. Getting tons of bone constructs is obviously very good. The reason why this is good now, and the reason why I hated it before, is Unearth has no value in a boss fight, unless the boss summons ads. Except, we got a very big change to Unearth. This was the change in the patch notes that really altered my perspective on things, because dead skeletal reviving minions, once per death, can create a bone construct. You hit the corpse that they leave down with Unearth. That's tremendous amounts more minions. Even if they're not the strongest minion, which they're fine, right? Even if they're not the strongest minion, though, that is awesome. And consider the fact that even if we have tons of melee-focused minions, we can now use the same support gems over and over again. So getting all of their damages scaling together is also going to be much easier. But we're not done. No, we are not going to be done until we have so many minions on the screen that we can't move. That is the goal. We're running Sacrifice and Profane Ritual. Lots of people are not going to be running Sacrifice anymore because, quite frankly, this skill got hit with the ugly stick. But only if you were doing it in an abusive way. I should reword that, but I'm not going to. The point here is that this works fine as long as you're not doing some weird, weapon swap tech, which we're not. This is going to be on all the time. Going to make our minions revive more slowly, but we pick up a lot of stuff on the tree to kind of mitigate that. But what it's going to let us do is it's going to let us Profane Ritual them to get power charges. If we're getting power charges, we no longer need corpses for Raise Zombie. Also, the zombies we make are a lot stronger. Now, I have already played with this. Empowered zombies can get it. No, that's... No, I'm sticking with that too. No, empowered zombies are fantastic. They do what I wish zombies did in Poe 1. Or I guess a better way to put it is just they kind of do what zombies do in Poe 1, which is very powerful in Poe 2, where everything just kind of feels not quite as snappy and good. They're fast and they hit hard and they take less damage. Tanky, they're good, and what's more, you can have 10 of them. You can have 10 of them. So that's another 10 potential Frost Armor explosions, right? And then we factor in however many skeleton minions we end up with. Let's just say like 8, just to be kind of conservative. 8 seems to be very doable, which is why I'm doing that, because looking at like a skeleton minion here, you get 2 for free, 2 brutes, 2 frost mages, and we can actually get more of this. But at the very least, we're going to kill 5. Okay, actually, let's do 5. 5, because that's how much Profane Ritual will kind of pop off on our own minions to eat them, and that will guarantee the 5 unearths. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So 5 here, 10 here. Actually, with enough duration scaling, we can probably match the zombie and the unearth count, right? So we'll go 10, 10, 2, 2, and then 2, and that's just baseline. We can actually have more than this, but that's just that. That is 26 minions. And I'd say conservatively, we're probably not going to hit 26 every time, but even just like 22, 23. 23 minions all getting this ice armor buff and then exploding at the same time. That should be a lot of damage. Not even counting the nonsense of all of our minions just beating on the enemies, right? When they get close to stun or they get primed, the skeleton brutes get to do their stun thing as well. That's going to be good. And then on top of that, we have like extra combo potential, kind of generally worked into the archetype, where we're going to be running Soul Offering. And Soul Offering has actually been changed. It says increase spell damage here, but it's now a more spell damage modifier. And what we want to do is have a split tree, right? For a weapon swap setup. And managing your spirit is going to be important here, but it should be very doable, where we will essentially swap to a setup with Dark Defiler equipped, which is going to give us 5% of damage as chaos damage per undead minion. 26 times 5 is 130% chaos damage. That's pretty good. That makes up for a lot of things missing. You factor in the like the whole swap tech on the tree. As long as, right, and remember, as long as Sacrifice is running in both setups, there's no problems there. That was the change that was made. We can accommodate that. You factor in, though, the changes on the tree. You can invest in your type of damage. I'm expecting we're going to be consuming the freeze. This is when this is going to come online. So I have Cold Snap here. It's just going to be called Snap, because it can consume any element, but we're looking at Snap. And that's probably going to be, like, on top of everything, somehow on our minion build, we get to do a massive, like, cold chaos damage nuke. And we might actually have better alternatives, because the Black Flame Covenant Keystone is going to appear somewhere over here on the tree. So it will either be close or already adjacent to one of our nodes, and that will turn fire damage into chaos damage, which would let us go completely all in on a chaos damage nuke. Would it consume freeze? No, but maybe we don't need it to consume freeze, because once we set everything up, we want to be doing something ourselves. If that is Soul Offering and blasting the hell out of them with our favorite fire spell, yeah, we're going to do that. That's the plan, right? I think even without another scepter equipped, because I don't know if we're going to do wheel scepters all the time, or if we're going to look for like an armor energy shield to shore up the defenses. There's 8 there, 2 there, 2 there, so 12 minions all the time. Pretty good to start with, not including Unearth, not including Ray Zombie. And then with everything going, I didn't count the Infernal Hound. It was actually 27 minions before in the example. My bad. I'm excited for it. I kind of wanted to let people know what the gist of the idea was. I wish I could give you more. I really do. This is going to be a very short video, but I mean, it's just a concept because we don't have the information. If someone is telling you their build is going to be the best, they are swindling the hell out of you. I mean, well, it might be the best, right? We have some information to base builds on, but generally speaking, we are lacking way too much. I guarantee you there are so many undocumented things in this patch notes that probably should have also been in there, not even just like talking about what we have. Take a screenshot if you have to. Very simple skill tree to like get things going. We're basically just grabbing all of the minion damage. And if you're confused by that, right, because you see like this over here where I'm like grabbing these two nodes, minion damage is a limited quantity resource. You don't have, like, generally speaking, relatively endless sources of increased damage for minions, the same way you do for other damage sources. That is why I kind of go out of my way to get everything, because I don't know how much we're going to need, and I want it all. I'm sure some of this can be cut, but, like, there's other reasons to be going and grabbing the things we grab. This is a big regen node. This leaves us close to more, like, minion survivability if we want it. This gives us a ton of AoE, which is going to make the whole combo setup work better, right? Because the brutes do a war cry, which needs to hit our minions to make them go off. And then the actual frost armor is an AoE application, and then the explosion is going to be an AoE. So AoE is very important. General reduced reservation, some more like free survivability over here and over here while we're getting damage. I feel so far it's a very efficient tree because this is basically the damage outlined, and now we're just going to be like, all right, let's fix survivability and jewel stuff, and we take jewels, so maybe we have a little bit of room, do stuff with the new abyss stuff, and if like I don't know, if we need a keystone accessible, we can come down here and grab this and turn blood magic into something else, because those new like timeless abyssal jewels will let us change what keystones do. There's also this, lots of options. Oh, while I'm rambling like a madman, my planned anoint will probably be long distance relationship because it's more AoE and it's also presence AoE, which we already get presence AoE over here, quite a bit of it, in fact. What is that? 45%, but I would like more because if you don't know how scepters work, the damage modifier on them is allies in your presence. They have to be near us, so making that bigger is good. Lots of area of effect. Oh my goodness. Before I let you go, there are a couple things to consider going forward. For starters, minion accuracy is gone. There are minion accuracy nodes here. Those are going to do something else now. It might be damage related, it might not be. I don't know exactly what it's going to do, but these might be like auto take points. Another thing, we grabbed these two little crit nodes here because initially I came up here and I took Necrotic Touch, and then I was like, why am I spending all these points to get 40% minion crit when I can spend these 2 points and get 40%? This is a weird node to me. It might still be worth to come up here just because minion crit is probably a valuable stat long term. If our minions are dying too quickly, we probably just come over here and grab this stuff, which is going to be very strong because it's life, it's physical damage reduction, it's chaos res, which are generally speaking probably the few things that the build is going to be worried about. We can also get just a little bit more res here if we want. If we have like damage sustain issues for survivability, we're right next to some strong recoup options. And even if we need skill duration, it's like right here off the highway that we run. It's kind of silly how you map out a tree like this and then you look at what you're going to need and it's just everything is right there. I love it. We can even look at like maybe some damage taken as mana tech to boost our survivability that way, which I feel is very likely because I get the feeling armor is going to be okay, especially the bases will be very nice, right? We're already taking this. I like kind of force this one. I force the matter on this one just because it gives move speed, and move speed is such a premium stat right now. I'm like, okay, well, it's enough energy shield and move speed that we would take this anyway, and then just because we're probably doing things with armor, because there are a lot of armor options nearby, and I would anticipate that 1 or 2 good elemental damage taken as armor nodes for smaller hits, that's going to be incredibly impactful, and then either some sort of mind over matter effect or just the general feel of energy shield and our minions getting in the way of most attacks is going to make it so that we can have our HP there when we, HP, energy shield as well there when we need it to survive big hits as well. But it's all very theoretical. And every build is right now, unless it's running on things that like supposedly have not changed, which doesn't exist. It actually doesn't exist. Like every support gem, pretty much every single support gem, I mean it, every support gem is probably completely different now. So even a build that you probably think 100% is going to be very different. And that cannot be. This is almost a cautionary tale video because of all the tangents I'm going on about that. But you know, if you had build plans and I just ruined them, I'm sorry. I just really like the idea of blowing up a ton of icy explosions and causing like massive mayhem on the battlefield while I stand in the back and don't get targeted myself. That seems very attractive in a build. And this kind of this combo that they laid out in the video, I saw that there was so much more you could stack on top of it with Unearth and Raise Zombie and Sacrifice Profane Ritual. And then even the Soul Offering cheekiness with like Dark Defiler, I have high hopes. I'm not sure how much of it is going to work out, but I think at the very least, this build will be able to clear effectively at endgame, because again, I did play the old version of Frostmage, and if it can even get close to matching that, which it will match that for, I think, general efficiency, because it's going to be much more durable overall, it's going to be a build that works as a League starter, and that is, in my opinion, the purest form of minions, is a build that functions well as a League starter. Yeah, I'm sure if Gazzy somehow sees this, he's going to be like, minions are so much more than that. And he's right, but I'm not making promises I can't keep. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, the build is really not terribly finished. I don't think any build is finished right now, but there's going to be updates going forward. I'm going to be live streaming at least for, probably the first week of League, and putting out videos pretty frequently to just explain what worked and what was changed for anyone who's trying to follow along themselves, or just, people in general who have a passing interest in how minion builds are going to fare, because I think that's going to be interesting to a lot of people. The baseline of minions wasn't great, and supposedly they've brought them up a lot. So, yeah. Have a good one, Exiles, and I will see you tomorrow.